say, for presentation. So I'm going to be a guest self-indulgent and so show you a few pictures of what I was doing while you were slaving away.
Whoa! Thank you, I guess.
Yeah. So anyway, I was in Morocco. You all know where Morocco is. Okay, it's stacked up here at the top of Africa.
You did not.
So it's very close to Europe. Morocco is a wonderful melding place of cultures. Thank you. So many influences from French, Portuguese, Berber, which consider themselves, of course, African. There are about 4 Berber tribes. They don't like to be called Arabic. Arabic is the official language, as is Berber, as well as English is now slowly taking over from French as the 3rd official language. So we landed in Casablanca, then went to Rabat, which is the capital city, beautiful clean city. Then we went up to Tangier, very famous city for expatriate writers and authors. And then we went to this town up, this is all coastal, this is the mountains, and we went to the Chefchaouen, the blue city. I'll show a few pictures from there. And then we took a long ride from Chefchaouen down to Marrakesh, here at the bottom. And then my wife and I took a trip out into the desert, and we went out past Quartzate and out here to close to the border with Algeria. So, anyway, very quickly, this is Casablanca. Casablanca is the world's 3rd largest mosque. Beautiful structure. This is the inside. This is one of the many doors that face out to the ocean. This mosque can accommodate 105,000 people, both inside and in the large plaza outside at one time. It's stunningly beautiful. From Casablanca, we went to Rabat. Rabat, the capital city. This is the entrance to the Medina, the old part of the city. Many beautiful doors like this, and many beautiful walls this color in Rabat. From Rabat, we went to Tangier. Lots of markets like this. It was lots of dates, beautiful dates. We got some dates out in the desert because it's the date harvest right now. My friend and I, we went walking around at night to the squares through Tangier. Perfectly safe, very clean, wonderful city to wander around in. And then we went to Chefchaouen. Chefchaouen's famous because it's known as the Blue City. And this is some of the streets what the streets look like in Chefchaouen. This beautiful blue color. And here's another. Took an early morning walk through the streets, and merchants starting to put out their wares as you wander it's on a hillside, so it's up and down, a lot of walking, but very, very beautiful. My friend and I, we spotted these 2 little girls. First, this little girl, we watched her bring out her little cloth and slowly put out her bracelets that she made. And we couldn't resist buying a couple of light bracelets for about, I don't know, maybe 10 cents it was eventually. But she made, and then her friend or sister came running over to get in the picture. This is the friend I was traveling with. So we bought our wives little glass bracelets from a very charming little girl in Chefchaouen.
We need proof of those bracelets, sir.
Sorry?
We need proof of those bracelets.
Well, I gave them to my wife, you know.
Okay. With a grain of salt.
So that's what they all say.
Then we went on to Fez. Fez is a wonderful city. Again, this is the Blue Gate. This gate is the entrance to the very large, they call it marketplace, they call it the Medina. It's the world's largest place. Please put cell phones away, thank you. It's the world's largest pedestrian-only area. The Medina, if you get to this gate, you'll find almost 10,000 streets. So you need a guide to go through them. So we had a guide. We also did a cooking class. We went with our guide through the market. Our mother was with us to know which things to go. They dressed us up in clothing, and we cooked a tangine, both a vegetable and a meat tangine, with spices that they selected. Wonderful food in Morocco. Beautiful, very, very tasty food. This was delicious. So, then this is some of the marketplace. This is the Riad, or where we stayed, sort of hotel here. This is some of the marketplace. Then I went, this is a library in a very fancy hotel, and I decided I wanted to bring this library back to Lacombe. I felt very comfortable in that library. But you walk through the streets of, in almost any city, and like in Fez, you walk down the street and you see these beautiful sort of designs. Islamic art, of course, is very accomplished art in terms of design and patterns, and so you see this kind of beautiful design almost everywhere you go within in Morocco. This is like the outside of a mosque that we walked by. So there's in this marketplace, we went out to Marrakesh, and this is a view above, looking down into the huge market. They have sections. This is sections where they dye fabric, or dye wool. And you can see how they dyed the wool. This is where they make dyed leather. If you go here, they give you some mint to hold to your nose to counteract the smell. But they've been doing this practice of making leather, dyeing leather for centuries. And Moroccan leather is still very famous today. If you buy something that's leather, that's actually from Moroccan leather, it's probably fairly expensive because of the process. These are the different pools for the different shades or color of leather. And these are skins, animal skins they've got around that they keep in these pools sometimes for weeks at a time to get all natural dyes. These dyes are all natural, but they've been doing this for, I think 100 years. From Marrakesh, we went out into the desert, and again, you see odd things out in the desert. This is a sign for a restaurant, I think. Traveling along, it gets more arid as you head east. Often in a canyon, you can buy things, old stalls everywhere. And this is Al Ben Hadud. This is where they filmed scenes for in.
Oh, Game of Thrones.
Yeah. So we know. So this is the gate. Actually, they used the whole city in Game of Thrones. It's also been in other movies. I think it may be in the Odyssey movie that's coming out. So you could go out. This is the gate. This is how, of course, it looks in the movie. I think of the third season. We went to other places where they'd filmed movies. Then I got a camel.
What's his name?
And took a camel ride. I had my own camel and my own This is the person who led my camel. I was the only one and I wasn't part of this long, this kind of long thing. I had my own. So there I'm headed out into our desert camp. And I like camping like this.
Whoa, that's glamping, sir. That's not camping, that's glamping.
So yeah, this is our tent over here. I was shocked to find that there's only one other couple at this camp this night, and there are only 4 of us in this whole camp. But still, they entertained us, the Berbers. Okay. Anyway, they tried to teach me to drum, and then another video of us dancing around the fire. So, anyway, I was having, struggling to get through this while you were enjoying your stuff. Okay, your brain on art. Right? Oh, sorry, wrong page. Okay. I got into art by mistake.
Oh.
I was in college. I didn't know anything about art. And essay elections came up, and one of the things, the offices they asked people to apply and make a run for was to be editor of the yearbook. Any of you done that, editor yearbook? And so I put my name in, why not? And I thought, this is, big school. I thought it was a fairly big school. And other people were around, and that's fine, and I won't get it. Well, I got the job, and then I said, oh no, what would I do? I don't know anything about design, so I signed up for an art class, which I thought would teach me design. I was wrong. I got into the class, and about the first day, the instructor handed us a mirror, and he said, do your self-portrait. And I said, oops, I'm in trouble. I started to sweat. And I finally put up my hand and said, professor came over and said, I said, this is all I can do. Okay? That's the level of my artistic ability. He sort of looked at me and said, he didn't use these words, but this is what I understood. Shut up and get with it. And so I began my journey in falling in love with art, with feeling that I had zero talent. I felt that I was the least talented person. But I began a journey that, and it has taught me a valuable life lesson. Okay? One of the things that doing or creating art has taught me is that there's almost always more than one way to solve a problem. When you're try to make art, you make a lot of mistakes. things don't always work out. You have to find, at least the kind of art I do, which involves metal and sculpture and working with chemicals. I do sort of untraditional kinds of art. There's always a problem that needs to be solved, and very often the first solution doesn't work. And I've been able to apply this in other areas of my life, in administration, in school, as administrator, often problems, right? And the first solution, if it doesn't work, doesn't discourage me, because I believe there's always more, almost always more than one way to solve the problem. Let's be creative and think of another way. So if you run into a problem in your life, remember one of the advantages of knowing about art is more than one way to solve the problem. But why art? Okay? Art gives pleasure. Okay? Viewing art, the more you know about art, the more you view art, the more pleasure you receive from it. So what a great, life would be very dull and boring without art around. Art can emotionally move us, and I hope to give you some examples a little later in the program. It can affect people emotionally and profoundly. Art can enlighten us. It can give us a picture to something that's new or different from the way we think. So it can broaden one's mental horizon. Okay? Art can challenge us. If you view art, you do not have to like everything you see. I go to museums all the time. Coming back, I went to the art in Montreal, a wonderful museum in Montreal, so a wonderful show, but very challenging. Difficult to look at sometimes. I've been to art shows and look at art and sit there. I have no idea what that's about. Not a clue. Okay? But keep making the encounter with the new is what gives value and stretches your mind. So art can challenge. Okay? Okay? Art, a timeless manifestation of human emotion and creativity, is more than just a visual delight. It reflects our society, is a tool for communication, and a cornerstone of our culture. Let's embark on a journey to understand the profound importance of art in our lives. Again, I grew up in a household that didn't have much art. What art we did have was very realistic, and so I didn't know a lot about art when I got to university. And it's my mistake of signing up for the wrong class that changed my life. Most of the images I show you, unless there's a name to it, is my own work. So, curiosity. You've heard me talk before about the class, the value of curiosity. I love being curious about things, and it's the heartbeat of what? An educated imagination. An imagination that's not educated is a fairly limited one. You can educate your imagination. So, again, yeah, please put computers away. You know, they're not allowed. Okay. It creates a mental, and the orientation is comfortable with questioning. Not all art is easy to understand, and some pieces of art have different interpretations, what it means depending on the viewer. An art piece is not an essay. Okay? It's a suggestion. Look at me, and what do you think? Okay? So, helps us live with ambiguity. It's the willingness to daydream and notice that you have an idea and run with it. Now, you may not want to believe me. That's fine. But there is a field of science that is taking off right now, and it's referenced in this book, Your Brain on Art. This book is not by artists, it's by researchers, two researchers. And this is science, is called neuroaesthetics. It's the study of what happens in your brain when you create or even look at art. And there's growing evidence of the benefits. So it's a study of how the arts and aesthetics measurably change the brain and body, contributing to health and well-being. It is an actual sort of science with a lot of research now going. Okay? And many of these quotations come from this text. It stimulates the creation of new neural pathways and ways of thinking, increasing brain plasticity, which means it increases, the more neurons you have, it increases your brain's ability to deal with information. Multiple areas of the brain are activated when experience art, including involved in motor activity, emotion, and memory. Several medical schools in the United States are now sending medical students to art galleries as part of their course of study. Because they figured out that medical students who spent more time with art tended to be more empathetic when dealing with a patient. Okay. Can lower stress levels and reduce the stress hormone. Can help with difficult emotions and trauma. I'm going to give you an example of one of my own pieces in that regard. Is everyone done with this? Okay. People who engage in artistic activities or attend cultural events at least once or twice a year report better health and higher levels of happiness. So go to a symphony concert. There's a Red Deer Symphony concert coming up on the, I believe it's the 15th, but it's about sold out, I'm afraid. But on December 20, if you're interested, the Red Deer Symphony Concert Society is putting on a program at Gates United Church. I will be emceeing the program. It's going to be a reading of Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol with appropriate music. So tickets are available online now. I'll send an announcement out. So this involvement brings me a good deal of happiness. Feeling more connected to themselves and others. So again, let me show you some of the evidence. They wired up people and then had them look at art and sort of measured the brain activity. So So a study, this is out of the Netherlands. This is a very famous painting by Vermeer. I love this painting. A Dutch artist, a girl with a pearl earring. And so it's revealed that real works of art in a museum, not just pictures of art, okay, stimulate the brain in a way that is, wait for it, 10 times stronger than looking at it as a poster or as a reproduction. I wish I could take you all on a field trip and go to an art museum and see the real stuff. It's a huge difference in experience. And so I'll show you some pieces in a moment. So for example, they mapped how the eye moved within the brain as they looked at the picture. Okay? Between the girl's eyes, mouth, and earrings, analyzed how the brain was comprehending the picture. Come on. This is one of my pieces. Darkness and light. I firmly believe this, that experience in art is always an invitation for human agency. Human agency, the ability for you to have agency, is always enhanced by art. Always an invitation to human agency. If you forget everything else I've said today, remember this sentence. Okay? Okay, watch this painting over here. So this one is called Light and Darkness. It's called a diptych, two paintings that speak to each other. Okay? So this is on copper. This is chemicals and dyes applied to the copper. This is also copper. And have any of you gone roofing or done roofing? Yeah, this is roofing tar, roofing stuff. Okay. I use strange stuff. Okay.
You might be looking at this and thinking about what you see, but it's actually possible to look at this and instead think about what you hear. Think about music. Some of its building blocks are rhythm, which is just when notes happen over time with silent spaces in between. harmony, which is when two or more notes at different pitches are played together at the same time to produce a logical effect or mood. This form should have chunks and are arranged over time. And all those building blocks together create position. Painting. This and visual arts also have, but that's visual rhythm, which can be created with marks like this. Boom. 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 And here we have spaces between paint marks instead of silence in between musical notes. It also has harmony, but that's color harmony, which is the placement of two or more colors together to assert ecological effect or mood. Effect. And here I changed the mood with this contrasting harmony between blue and orange. This image also has forms and shapes that occupy chunks and sections of the image, and all these elements together create a position. Also, when musicians add different chords or timbres or textures to music, we say that we're adding color to the music, and it creates another tone or mood, just like if I added another color to this painting. Boom. 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 So for example, those could be my conga drums, adding color to this music. Another common music term is staccato, which is a series of very short notes, usually played very quickly and with just short silences in between. And we can actually see how the same effect can be created in painting. Like this. And you can actually see staccato. And you can hear the sounds of the marks being made as I make this. You can also say that this painting is syncopated. Syncopation is the emphasis of silences between musical notes. But again, here we have spaces in between paint marks. So we can actually see staccato and see syncopation. But it's crazy because this is something that's only supposed to exist in the world of sound. We can actually see it. We can see into the world of sound arts. Something else compelling is that legendary musician Miles Davis used to look at Kandinsky paintings like these. And he would compare their balance and juxtaposition of lines and shapes to the balance and juxtaposition of chords and sounds in music. And he said, if artists like Kandinsky can do stuff like that with images, I can do the same thing with sounds. And he said, a painting is music that you can see, and music is a painting that you can hear. And the key with that is whether it's music or
Yeah, that's what I want to leave it with. Music is what? Okay, a painting you can hear, art is a painting is a music you can see. Okay. Okay, in essence of time now, I recognize it's your break time, so take 5. Come take a look around if you have questions. Yes.
And then the only thing after is grab some. Wait, where's the? Okay, I forgot what it's called. Red Deer going.
Do it. Your sister.
The sports complex.
We are all angels.
Closes at 6 p.m.
Yeah. This piece here is called Anthem for the Wind. You can see the musical reference to music here. So it's called Anthem for the Wind. People often ask me why some of my angels only have one wing. Are they too puzzled why the angel is bound? Why might that be? But I came across a quotation by an Italian poet author who wrote, "We are all angels with one wing. We need each other to fly." Anyway, I mentioned earlier that one of the uses of art is to help us to deal with sometimes life's difficult decisions. Art is a way of negotiating grief, and I said I'd give you a personal example. I did a series of paintings that once they're mostly, I call it my loneliness series. The series depicting different aspects of loneliness. So. I guess Bremen's internet doesn't want me to show you this.
For us. There's going to be a lot of children, so it doesn't
You gotta go.
it's like Friday evenings, we get together and it's like worship. Sometimes there's yeah. Sometimes it's just like starting worship. Sometimes it's like talking
Let's go one. Especially this weekend. This weekend especially.
You see what I'm doing here?
Everyone has a replacement for
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to jump to an activity. You'll be getting a piece of paper, and so you're going to do a drawing. You're already drawing.
Sorry.
You'll find this exercise very easy.
Oh, it's bigger? Yes, there were the
Just grab one at a time.
Does everyone have your sheet of paper? Okay. This is your first line.
There really isn't. Except for
Okay? That's your first. You're at the top of the page.
You're at the top of the page.
Yeah, the top of the page.
Like, in all the pages? Or like, not here,
Up to you. Yeah, you're drawing on the paper.
why would you draw it that way?
They may want sort of in the middle of your paper. That middle paper. Okay?
Yeah, how are you gonna do that? How are you gonna do that, Zach?
It's a vegetarian. Oh, those Russian dolls. Does that include, is that just like?
That's not his fault.
At some point, you didn't.
Just a penguin? I'm betting that it's someone so that I know.
Oh, I told you! I told you, bro!
Unless it's
Are you serious? No.
No, why are you doing now? You're in bed.
Do you recognize what you've drawn?
Sir, I think there's something wrong. Sir,
Looks happy.
This is what I got.
Last time I did this, there was a student in class who then turned Piglet into a spider. There's something a little more somber. You said art? I can have your attention. One of the ways I dealt with the death of my mother was through poetry and through art. Like I said, I did this series called Loneliness. But this square is the same size as this square. The square is black. And this is a photograph. Okay. That's my mother. It's a way of helping to process a difficult emotion. Another way artists can use to raise awareness. This is an artist. He now lives in Vancouver, originally from Massachusetts here. My wife at one point did a video of him, and as part of payment, we have one of his paintings, not this one. But many indigenous artists, I just saw a fabulous show in Montreal, artists dealing with the idea of the residential school system. A way of processing history and something that has been dramatic. So you have a very strong warrior here emerging out of a residential school system. This is by George Littlechild, titled Warrior Incarcerated. Either in prison or residential schools, could be both, either or. Okay. Art can also be social or political commentary. This is a mural in Toronto, caused a lot of controversy. Anybody recognize these figures? Okay, a rap artist, okay, in Toronto. There's a public outcry for them to take this mural down. Okay. The artist put this figure with other figures to situate this rap artist among other artists. Okay? Causes controversy. People get upset. It's a kind of social statement that this artist is making. Okay? I'll skip through this. Okay. Perhaps perhaps on the same piece of paper, put down this number. This is by a very famous Canadian artist, a group of 7. Put down 1 to 5, 5 being you love this work, and 1 being, yeah, you can't deal with this. Okay? So put down a number between 1 and 5 on this piece. Okay? Painting by A.Y. Jackson. Okay? Okay, everybody good?
What if you're just not a fan of the style? That doesn't.
Yo.
It's up to you.
Cute.
Very controversial artist. Over romanticized his work. Yeah. Yeah.
5 is that you like it and 1 is that you
Yeah. For me, this is a 1.
It's really pretty.
Whoa.
You don't like it?
Art is very
That's why.
I can talk to you after, especially. It's about this. Art is just too superficial. Joan Cardinal Schubert is a well-known indigenous artist. I have a small piece of hers. Okay, War Shirt for the Earth. War Shirt for the Earth. Riopel, one of Canada's famous abstract artists. His paintings look like stained glass windows. 1 to 5. There's one you might not like, but by a famous artist, Pablo Picasso. Weeping Woman.
There are a lot of artists that came after him that did similar styles. It became a trend.
Yeah, this is Cubism.
Yeah.
Edward Hopper is one very famous American artist. This is one of his most famous paintings called Nighthawks. Talk about loneliness, very much depicts that in this painting.
Yes, like that one guy that he has a very lonely shadow. It's also good. Don't worry about it.
This is Georgia O'Keeffe, another very famous American artist of Southwest, one of the 20th century's American artists, became quite famous. This is Emily Carr, West Coast Canadian artist, documented much of the totem poles and things on the West Coast. This is a church in a village. It's called Black Venus. If you study art, you know that there are hundreds of paintings entitled Venus. Okay? But this artist decided enough of white ones, let's have a black one, black woman as a Venus. And so did this piece.
That would be Aphrodite.
Okay, any fives here?
Wait, no.
No fives, fours, threes, twos, one. Oh dear. Doesn't get much love. Any fives? Okay, some fives, fours. Okay. Any fives? Yeah, some fives. Fours, threes, twos, one. Any fives? Oh, people like this one. Yeah, he's very, very good. Four. Okay. Three, two, one. Couple of
Can
ones.
explain everything, but that doesn't mean I particularly gravitate towards it.
Okay. Certainly a weeping woman, but any fives? Ah, some fives here. Fours, threes, two, one. So interesting, almost an even distribution. Rio Bell, any fives? One five, couple of fives. Fours, three, two, one. You need to go and see it in the museum. Okay. Ones,
Whoa, why are we starting with ones? Wow.
just to throw you out. Ones, eh? Two, three, four, five. You see the diversity? A piece of art meaning is about the encounter of the person with the art. The beauty of that is that the more you know as the person, the more you know in your encounter with the art, the more likelihood you'll appreciate it. Okay, quickly, I need to running out of time here. Fives? Okay, yes, lots of people like Kincaid. Okay. Any ones? No ones, okay.
Yo.
Fives? People like the humor, right? It's sort of funny.
Very serious going on.
Cheese! Any fives? Okay, fours, threes, two, one. Oh, okay, good. Okay.
Could you just leave the dogs on the screen?
So a couple of final considerations. Okay. I'll post this, I'll read it quickly, but art does not advocate. Not an essay or a polemic. The circumscribed art with an ideology of a singular effect be it either moral, art is good for you, or deleterious, are bad for you, should be banned, short circuits the values of art and hijacks art to an ideological pulpit for the advocacy of personal ethic applicable to all others. There are people who want to dictate to you what's valuable, okay? What's important. Okay? What we need is a situation in which art, the life of the mind, can be enjoyed with a knowing pleasure, one that thrills to every richness art can offer, yet not shrink from the issues art can raise. Okay? Let me give you one example, okay? And I'll end with this example. Anybody guess where this is?
Berlin Wall. No.
Ukraine. Ukraine right now. This is done by a very famous street artist called Banksy. So you see what he's trying to do. Okay? Only imagination, only imaginative vision elicits the possibilities that are interwoven within the texture of the action. Okay? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've learned a couple of things today. Okay. Have a good weekend.